It's already 6:09. Do you
Yeah,
want to share any lesson or impression from last time? Do you have anything you want to practice sharing or?
I just had some challenges at work, and I was
Oh,
because of wit. I think had that same problem last week, but yeah, I was able to use wit or the awareness and my wisdom that I could control things.
can you be a little bit more specific?
Oh, just some people, they're always phoning in sick,
Okay.
and we had to deal with that issue.
Always falling in
And,
sick and you have to deal with that issue. Okay. And then
yeah, there
how
was
did
some confrontation, but
you,
I talked to him in a way where he was quite pleasant after, actually.
okay.
Yeah.
Let's um let's kind of jump in today. I'm very
Okay.
happy, very grateful that you're taking the time to come back to our Zoom. I
Yes.
want to appreciate Phan Thị Kim Anh or Anh Phan Thị Kim um, for joining us as well. If you get a chance to turn on your camera, that'll be helpful. So last time, what did we leave off with? We left off with the 9 types of people, correct? We ended with the sage or the people who open our mind and basically save us from suffering. Okay, so the point of that entire discussion of the 9 type of people is to raise or expand our awareness and perceptions. Okay, expand our awareness and perception about life, about other people, so that ultimately we can craft a life of good health, happiness, and peace. Okay, that is the assumption that most people, especially those who have been studying this philosophy and those who are joining the Zoom, that we ultimately want a good life, basically. Okay. And, the good life include not only the inner awareness about ourselves, but it also include our relationship for other people. So that's why we went through several episodes just talking about the different type of people that if we can learn to recognize them, then we can treat them, we can keep them, and ultimately become them. Okay, so better people, better life for us. With today's sharing, I want to go back a little bit on some of the conceptual, theoretical stuff, which I think is actually important for us before we move on to talking about character. Today, we will try to talk about the 7 great gifts of life, which is the 7 charitable acts. But before that, let's consider the following, okay? Okay. So each week, we begin our discussion by generating our purpose, right? We always generate the purpose is to expand our awareness and perception. But we haven't really sat down and discussed what it means to have awareness and to have perception, and what does it mean to expand our awareness and perception. Okay, so let's see if we can do a little bit of discussion in on that topic today of what it means when I say awareness and perception. Okay, so use the pen. So we have the word awareness, and I always go together with perception. With the Vietnamese language being a monosyllabic, oftentimes a word has 2 words, and in the Vietnamese word, it's nhận thức. Nhận means awareness, to receive something when you first come to your awareness. Basically means something that first come to your knowledge, right? When you first come to something, come to your knowledge, we say, oh, I've been aware of it. And as that initial awareness start to take root inside of us, inside of our mind, inside of our inner being, they become a part of our perception. Okay, the way we see things, right? Awareness and perception kind of go hand in hand. Okay. Here in this philosophy, we divide it into the following. When we don't have, we're going to say not have, basically not have awareness and perception of something, versus to have, and to have the fullness of awareness and perception. So let's take, for example, when somebody talk about a concept or an idea, and when we first hear it or encounter it, and our inner state is, let's use, if our inner state is negative, negative inner state. In other words, our emotion is negative. Our thought and ideas about that concept is negative. So in this philosophy, we say you don't really have any awareness and perception about that concept just yet. Okay, not have. For some people, when somebody say, let's run a marathon, and immediately all the negative thoughts and emotion comes up. I can't do it. It's too far. My bone aches. My joint hurts. I have arthritis. I'm too old. All the negative feelings and thought that comes up. Then we say, you don't actually have, an appropriate awareness and a perception about running marathon just yet. Okay. All you really need is a favorable source concept and good mental images, and then you will eventually have it. Okay. So when our inner state is positive, let's use a different color, make it pink. Okay, if our inner state is positive, okay, positive inner state, then we say, oh, you have some awareness and perception about that concept. Okay, and if you continue to build on the positive inner state, eventually you will have fullness of awareness and perception. This is an equal sign. Okay, I call it fullness. No, this is balance. Okay, so balance inner state. Okay, so let's go back about the positive. Let's say somebody say, let's go running a marathon, and you're really excited about it. You want to get to know about it more. You really want to try it out. That is a sort of, it's a direction, right? A direction you're getting positive. Okay. But if somebody say, let's do running marathon, and you say, okay, sure, fine. Been there, done that. I can totally do it. Then you've already reached a state of balance. We're not negative. We're not discouraged. We don't have any negative thought. We're not too excited about it either, because it's already part of our reality. Been there, done that. Okay, that's the idea of being balanced when it's come to our inner state. Not only that, we achieve balance because we already have positive balance and positive orientation. Okay, so the more we think about it, Okay, so when we talk about negative or positive, we're talking about the orientation, a direction. Okay, whereas balance is you're on top of the hill, you don't need to go anywhere, you already have that as your reality. Okay, so having a fullness of awareness and perception means that we are balanced in the state, we are positively oriented, and importantly, we have clear mental images about that concept. We have clear, favorable those concept. Okay. So we can kind of, practice and look at things like technology. When we look at technology, do we have any negative feelings about it? Or do we really excited about it and positive? Or it just balanced? You have full grasp of technology. For some people, when you think about, downloading an app on a new computer, on a phone, they go negative. Oh no, more technology, I can't handle it. Then we say that they have not had, an appropriate awareness and perception of computers and phones and apps. Because if they do, then they would not feel negative. Right? If they have enough source concept, if they have favorable, clear images, let's just go ahead and put the positive symbol on this one. Okay. Right. When think about, let's say, marriage, right? We can assess ourselves when we think about our marriage. Do we have a positive or negative inner state? Do we have good thought? Do we have, positive emotion? If we have positive emotion, then we say, oh, okay, you have good awareness and perception about marriage. But if we have negative inner state, if somebody say, oh, marriage is, I don't know, is a curse, okay? Or people who say the best day of their life is their wedding, and every day since that is worse. Then we say that person have not had, a awareness and perception. And all they need is clear mental images about marriages, and all they need is clear and favorable source concept. You kind of get that? Because once we have a clear mental images, once we have clear favorable source concept, then we have it. We grasp it, fully grasp it. We have a fullness of awareness and perception, and it equates to having that as our reality. Right? Pretty simple, right? So when you have a fullness of awareness and perception of anything, we essentially have that as our reality. That is why in the formula for the root cause formula at the end, we conclude by saying clear images equal reality. Okay, same with the reality triangle concept. Positive, favorable, clear source concept equals reality. So if there's, now we can think about any areas of life where our finance, our physical health, our mental health, our employee, the people who, call in sick all the time. Okay, so when that happened, okay, is my inner state negative or positive? If it is negative, then I can, go about, see if I can find ways to improve my mental images and find way to improve my clear, my favorable source concept about that person, about the work environment. And when you start to feel positive about it, when you feel hopeful, when we feel encouraged, when we are expecting good things, then we say, okay, you're beginning to have some good awareness and perception. And then finally, when we say, oh, I get it, no problem, I can deal with it, it is not even a problem, I can, I know exactly what that's about, then we have a balance in the state, right? We are positively oriented if we need to move anywhere, and that means it is part of our reality. Okay, whether it's our health, our finance, our relationship. Okay. Okay. So basically, if we already have something, we don't feel good or bad about it. We just have it. Okay. So any problems of life in this area, um, so the power about the power with this this concept that we're sharing, the idea of awareness and perception, is that once we get the idea that if we are negative, that means we don't have awareness of perception yet. If we are positive, that means we have. If we are balanced, that means we have a fullness awareness of perception. Then when you look at any problems of life, then they're not problems. They're no problem. They're simply whether or not we have awareness and perception, whether we have it or we have a fullness of awareness and perception. You see the simplicity and the advantage of looking at life through the lens of awareness and perception, right? Every problem is no longer a problem. They're just a matter of our awareness and perception. If we still have a problem, if we're still negative, then we can go to work on improving our awareness and perception in that area. That's it. Very simple, right? Instead of trying to fix the problem, we just raise our awareness and perception, and then we basically stand above life's problem. Okay, that's the beauty of it. Okay, that is why this methodology, this philosophy is very powerful. It has been taught to us by people who have been enlightened, the sages. Okay, people who open our mind, the wise people who have point us the way and basically show us how to stand above life's problem. From this perspective, onward from now on for the rest of our life, we no longer having a problem. It's just a matter of perception. If we can change our perception to that which is positive and balanced, then we're going to experience new life, new reality, desirable outcome, right? Okay, what about, think about important people in your life, right? Are there anybody left in your life that we still have negative feelings about, or we still have bad thoughts about? If that is the case, then that ought to mean that we don't have a problem with that people. Those people, we just don't have a full awareness and perception about them and about our relationship with them just yet. Okay, and so we can take steps to go and make it positive. Okay, we can shift our awareness and perception. That is why this is a process of expanding our awareness and perception about ourselves, about other people, so that eventually we'll get to a point where we are fully balanced, we have good, clear mental images and favorable source concept, and therefore we have the reality that we want, a desirable outcome in life. Okay? And a clear source concept equates to what we know, what we believe, and what we understand. As long as there's negativity in there, that means we don't fully know the issue, we don't fully believe it, or don't fully understand it. So all we got to do is go about getting knowledge, favorable knowledge, believe it in an appropriate way, and comprehend it, understand it, and thereby having it as a reality. Okay. Any questions so far about that? What do you think? What are some impressions?
I think it starts with level one. You know it's right or wrong, whether that person's negative or positive.
Okay.
Or yeah, it's right or
Yeah.
wrong, or so it starts at level one.
In fact, yeah, exactly. So, when at most human being, we have the level one awareness, right? And something happens, and we immediately have this awareness that that's right or that's wrong.
Mhm.
If we don't have enough energy, we don't have enough spiritual and ethical energy, then we tend to fall into the negative state. We choose the wrong. We choose to look at the bad instead of the good. We choose to look at the wrong instead of right.
Mhm.
But if we raise our level one awareness to the level of wisdom, then we can proactively choose to look at a person and a circumstance in a positive light. We go positive. Right? We can find a way to shift our perspective, shift our own awareness so that it is positive. And then when
And
we
or if
have,
you look at it as empty, you bring yourself to level three.
there you go. Okay.
Yeah. Just block
Level,
that the negative out.
okay. Yeah. Level three awareness and wisdom has to do with, emptiness, and you don't let the negativity drag you down. Right? If
Mhm.
anybody does something, whether it's their fault or not their fault, we don't take the fault in. We are balanced, totally balanced. And then we can go down to level two and we create positive images as well. Okay, so wisdom have it, it's able to shift between awareness and wisdom and different levels of awareness and wisdom. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to today's topic. Okay, well, this is today's topic too, but just a very brief. I drew earlier on, I drew a picture. Where did it go? I put it away and can't find it anymore. That's it. Okay. Do you remember the human construct? This is just a simplified version of it. Okay. So as human being, deep inside of us, we have this will to hear, will to see, will to speak, will to know. Okay. We simply call that our true nature. For those of you who are viewing this video for the first time, it is recommended that you go back to the earlier first few episodes to get an understanding on the human construct. Okay, so this is the part on the human construct. It is how human beings are constructed. Okay, deep inside us, we have our true self, our true nature. Right outside of that, our true nature is very balanced. Okay, represented by the circle of light. Very high vibrational energy, very balanced, does not oscillate up and down. Outside of that, we have admission, imagination, expression, cognition. Admission and expression is the input and the output, right? The things that we choose to hear and the thing that we choose to say, for example, okay? And right outside of admission, imagination, expression, and cognition, we have the basic stuff that human beings are needy of or concerned about. We are concerned about resources, which comes in terms of money and power. Okay, finance and power are the resources that we use until they are used up. Okay, we have to replenish them. We're interested in appearance, right? We have a need to look good. Not only appearance of our physical body look, but we also are interested in the way things appear around us, right? How your room looks, how the car looks, the way other people look. Okay, we are interested in appearance. We are very interested in identity. Okay, we have a need to be acknowledged of who we are, our name, for instance. Okay, our position in life, our identity. If somebody threatens our identity, then there could be a problem. Okay, that's part of human nature. We relate to each other often through identity. Mother, father, children, spouse, things like that. Boss, okay, employee, identity. We have a need for consumption. We need food, we need water, we need air. We also consume information. We consume social media. We consume the news. Okay, so we are constantly consuming. So human beings are interested in consumption. Right? In the previous sharing, if you will notice, I may have written the word, I think, eating or something like that. Okay, and then we need rest. Okay, we need rest to re-energize. We need rest to go back to balance. We like to go on vacation, and rest can expand to not wanting to think. Okay, okay. Laziness is a form of rest. Okay, why? Because we need to recharge. We need to restore our energy. So we are in the need of resources. We need a need of appearance. We are always interested in identity, consumption, and our rest. Okay, without those, human being, it's kind of hard to survive as a human being. And then, right outside of those basic needs and interests, we have the nature called desire. Okay, we desire. We always want things. We're always wanting. Okay, we want food. We want clothing. We want all kinds of things. Okay, in fact, the focus of human nature is desire. Okay, we desire resources. We want money. We want power. We want influences. We desire to look good. We desire for things to look the way we want it. We desire for appearance. We're always desiring our name to be recognized. Okay, we are desiring to eat, to drink, to consume things. We desire to rest, to go on vacation. And oftentimes we desire to not think. Okay, even desire for knowledge or desire for enlightenment. So human beings, we're always desiring stuff. And as we desire, we imagine, we think about it. Okay, we imagine, we have mental images. Another word for imagination is ideation. Sometimes we think in words instead of thinking images. So desire and imagination are the central focus of human nature. Okay. And then next, beside from desire, human being, we tend to get displeasure. Okay, in the previous sharing, I used the word anger, but that is a little too extreme. That's the reason I'm going to use the word displeasure, because next I will explain the positive and negative polarity of these natures. Okay. So we tend to be displeasure. We get sick of things very easily. We have something called ignorance. Okay, ignorance, we don't know things, and we know things. There's part of us that is cognition. There's a will to know, but then there's also, the lack of knowledge, which is called ignorance. We have pride. Okay, pride in ourselves, pride in our accomplishment. We have skepticism. Okay, people say things, information, and we don't believe it. We have ethic, which is it's a word that kind of defines good and evil. We have benevolence, and we have kindness and cruelty. Okay. Hello, Marianne. Long time no see. Thank you for joining us. I'm very grateful that you're taking the time. Honored by your presence. Okay, we'll do a little bit of review, and then we're going to jump on to some new stuff today. We have ethic, which is good and evil, kindness and cruelty, and we have judgment. Okay. Without judgment, we can't really make sense of the world. We just recognize pattern. We judge, people as good and bad, circumstances as should or should not. Okay, and so to simplify it, really, human being, we we only let's draw a different one. So we have this in being. Okay. Okay, and then we have right outside of that is the mind. Okay, and the emotion too. Okay, the mind and emotion. We're going to simplify it real good. And in the bigger picture, the emotion is represented by what we call 84,000 bubbles of illusion. Okay. Bubbles, bubble, a lot of bubbles, small bubble, big bubbles. And those are the emotion. Okay. Some bubbles pop, some bubbles are still there. 84,000 bubbles of illusion. And very close to our emotion is our 4-element body. Okay, which is earth, water, air, and fire. Okay. The body is next to the emotion because we often feel our emotion in our body, okay? Okay, and if you notice, outside of this human nature, this mind, it is wrapped up in a layer of positive and negative polarity, represented by red and blue waveline. And outside of our emotion, our body is also represented by a layer of positive and negative polarity. And I don't have to draw the wavy line perfectly because our positive and negative energy fluctuate all the time. There is very little consistency, nothing permanent about our energy fluctuation. And so we feel emotion up and down. Our mind, we have good thought, bad thought. Okay. So to simplify it, we have the inner being, and then we have the mind and emotion, which fluctuate. Okay, another way of saying that is our inner being is our true self. Okay, we won't talk about the true self in this discussion. The mind and emotion is part of our human nature. In fact, let's change the other word. Instead of say true self, we're going to say true nature. True nature, okay? True nature versus the human nature. Okay, there's a distinction there. True nature versus human nature. And that's just a quick review of the human construct. And it is important to understand the human nature because human nature fluctuate. Okay, they fluctuate, they have positive and negative polarity. Over here are the negative polarity, and over here are the positive polarity. When it comes to desire, nothing wrong with desire. That's human nature to have desire. But first of all, this inner being part, okay, this inner being, this will to hear, to see, to speak, to know, it's considered very high in energy vibration, very balanced. As we go farther and farther away from this center, from our true nature, we tend to go out of balance. We tend to fluctuate. Our mind fluctuate, our emotion fluctuate, and our body fluctuate. And the farther away we go from the center, the lower our energy vibration is going to be. Okay? And here is a representation of the positive and negative polarity of the human nature. Nothing wrong with desire, but if our desire is for only for ourselves, then we call that negativity. Negative desire is desire for ourselves. We become selfish. Okay, it's called selfishness. If we desire and we actually go positive, we actually desire for other people. It's called altruism. The word altruism has a root in Latin, I think, which means other self. Not instead of just ourself, it is other self. Okay, altruism, that's what it means, other self. We tend to be displeasure. Okay, human easily get displeasure about things. If we get severely displeasure, well, we become wrathful, angry. That is a negative emotion or a negative state. But if we can go positive in our sense of displeasure, then we become satisfaction. And then the rest is similar to that, right? Ignorance, if we're way too ignorant, we become delusional, okay? We go positive in the scale of ignorance, we get clarity, understanding, wisdom, okay? Pride, okay, nothing wrong with pride. Okay, to be pride, you have a degree of confidence in yourself, for example. You have pride in your children, for example. If we have pride when it goes negative, that means inferiority. We don't, have no self-belief, no self-confidence, self-defecation, okay? Pride, when it gets too positive, it tends to get a little arrogant, Okay, so pride has a positive and negative polarity between inferiority and arrogance. Skepticism, okay? If we are severely negative in skepticism, then we are full of doubt. If we're doubting everything, then we don't really believe in anything. Okay, that's skepticism. If we go positive on the scale of skepticism, then we become trusting, trustful, faithful, belief. Okay. We have a sense of ethic. We know right and wrong. Borrowing from the story in the Garden of Eden in the Bible, human being, we have the choice, and we made the choice of eating from the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. And from the moment we knew good and evil, we acted good and we acted evil. We become negatively, if we are cruel, if we are positive, we become very kind. Okay? Kindness and cruelty are the polarity opposite of ethic. Then we human being, we judge. Okay, we judge. If we are too negative in our judgment, okay, then we become obstinate. Nobody can change our mind. Nobody can change our judgment. But if we are positive in judgment, then we're very open-minded. Okay, we allow other information to come in. We allow other concept and other people's ideas, and we allow our judgment to change. Okay, when we go negative, our judgment does not change. Okay, prejudice, obstinance, all of the things are negative polarity of judgment. Hello, chị Lâm. Thank you for joining us again. So, okay, I'll give Ron a few seconds to copy all of that down. Today, we're gonna deal with a universal principle and a natural law relating to the human nature, okay, relating to each other and to other people. It has to do with the, I'm gonna write the word, let's use this paper. Oh, there's a paper there already. Okay, so I'm gonna write the word affinity. Okay, affinity has to do with the relationship that we have with other people. Not so much the relationship, it is an energy, an attractive energy. An energy that determines if we are attracted to another person or if we have a negative, repulsive relationship with another person. Okay, affinity. Inside our human construct, beside from the human nature, beside from the emotion and our body, there is something spiritual, a spiritual energy. Okay, the spiritual energy that governs our life, our being, is grace, merit. Okay, grace, the opposite of grace is I'm going to borrow the Christian word today, sin. Okay, grace and sin, and then merit. Grace, or another word, is blessing. Okay, blessing, the positive energy that you receive from another. Hang on for a second. My computer is talking to me. Right? When we, grace is a positive energy that attracts good fortune. Okay? Grace is a positive energy that attracts good fortune. Some people are born more fortunate than others. Right? We say that I'm fortunate to receive something. She is fortunate. He is very fortunate. A person who is fortunate can also be thought of in religious terms as somebody who has a lot of grace and blessing from higher power, from God, for instance. In some culture, it is believed that misfortune comes from sin. Okay, so here we simply say negative fortune. or bad fortune, right? Some people are born with bad fortune. They don't have the same amenities. They don't have the same life circumstances as the people who are more fortunate. And merit has to do with our wisdom, okay? It is an energy that allows us to expand our awareness and perception. People who have a lot of merit energy are more simply able to understand the concept that we're sharing, more able to take ownership of the mind and the emotion. People who have a lot of merit energy are more simply able to experience inner peace, serenity. Okay, so we're going to operate with the human nature, and we're going to operate with the energy called, grace today, or blessing, or the energy of good fortune or bad fortune. It turns out that in order for our life to get better, we have, when we say our life is better, that means we receive positive circumstances, right? We are fortunate. It turns out that if our inner being, our self, is positive, we attract positivity. That's the idea. When our inner being is positive, we attract positivity. In other words, if we raise our awareness and attitude, if we raise our awareness and perception and attitude as well to positivity, then our inner being is positive, then we are more likely able to attract positive circumstances. Positive in health means good health. Positive in relationship mean harmonious relationship. Positivity in finance mean financial fortune, right? Dilam, you can't open the mic or the camera. That's okay. I appreciate your presence either way. Okay, very grateful for your participation. Okay, feel free to type in the chat, and I will read up your chat. If you have any question, feel free to type it in the chat. Thanks. Thank you for letting me know. So this is the important part, right? So if we want to be quote unquote fortunate, okay, then we need energy of good fortune. We need to, on the one hand, raise our energy level, our spiritual energy level, to positivity in these basic areas of human nature. Okay. At the same time, we have the energy called grace and merit. That is a kind of energy that gets deposited into our inner being when we help other people go positive. Okay, so on the one hand, we can directly change our awareness and perception so that we can be positive. And that's why I began by sharing the idea of awareness and perception. And Marianne, you missed this part, so just real quick review for you. Each week, we generate the purpose by saying that we are expanding our awareness and perception. In this philosophy, what that means is that whenever we experience a negative inner state about anything, when somebody says something or some circumstances happen and we have a negative inner state, we have bad thoughts, we have negative emotion, then we say that we have not have awareness and perception in that aspect. If something happened and we feel good, we have good thought, we have positive emotion, then we say, oh, I have some awareness and perception about that concept. And lastly, if something happens or we encounter a circumstances and we are balanced. And that is because we have already have the fullness of awareness and perception in that concept or that aspect that we're talking about. Because when we're balanced, we already have it. It's a reality. It's no big deal when somebody tells you something or you receive something that you already have. We don't go negative and we don't go positive. We are simply balanced. And to have a fullness of perception and awareness is to have clear mental images, positive mental images, and clear, positive, favorable source concept. Okay, so that is why we're talking about energy, spiritual energy, positive, negative, and balance. Okay, so so where was I? Okay, so on the one hand, we raise our awareness and perception so that we can go positive. If we can go positive and we reach a state of balance, then we have that as a reality. Okay, if we have, when we think about our health, okay, if we think about health and we're like, okay, my health is fine, I don't need to do anything, and then that means I already have good health. When we think about relationship, okay, I'm perfectly balanced about my relationship. I have clear mental image about my relationship. I know what it takes to have a good relationship. I'm balanced. That means you have a full awareness and perception about relationship, and you have the reality of it. On the other hand, if we think about our relationship with people or our spouse or our children, and they go negative, then that means we have not have a fullness of awareness perception. That means we need to go about cultivating and accumulating positive mental images and favorable source concept. Okay, so that is why we go to work on raising our awareness and perception. At the same time, as we said before, we have another type of energy that attract positivity and negativity into our lives. Well, there are things that we can directly control, like our awareness and perception. Sometimes disasters just happen. Okay, unfavorable circumstances just kind of happen. Or sometimes we win the lottery. Those are the positive and negative fortune that we receive, not as a result of our direct awareness and perception at that moment in time, but it is a result of the accumulated energy that we call grace. Okay, we say, I'm blessed by God. I didn't really do anything. I'm blessed by God. Well, actually, we did something. Okay, so it turns out that it is our actions that will cause us to accumulate positive or negative energy in terms of the spiritual grace and merit. It has to do with our ability to cause another person to go positive or negative. In other words, if we help another person become happy, if we are altruistic, then we raise their energy level, and thereby we deposit a positive energy into our own fortune account. And thereby, when we have a lot of positivity in our being, our spiritual being, then we can attract positivity, positive circumstances, desirable outcome in life. Right? On the other hand, if we cause a lot of people pain and suffering, we make people go negative. When we make people go negative, we deposit a negative seed in our bad fortune account. In Christian term, it's called sin. Okay, when we hurt people, we are sinning, and when we are sinning, then we are actually, we are going to be farther and farther away from having the kind of life that we really want. We actually essentially attract negativity into our life. So, with that in mind, we are still on the topic of affinity. Okay, so we are still trying to basically improve our life according to the formula of causality. Okay, the formula for causality means good inner seed, which is our awareness and perception, plus positive affinity, which is our relationship with other people. That will bring us a desirable outcome in life. Okay, and so let's see. Okay, so I mentioned two ways to raise our positivity. One way is to raise our awareness and perception. The other way is to cause other people to go positive. And so we're going to talk today about affinity, okay? One way to improve our affinity with other people is to do the 7 great gifts of life. Okay, or we can call it 7 charitable act, charitable act. Intuitively, we all are just, we have all heard of the golden rule. Anybody here heard of the golden rule? It's from a Christian, perspective. That's a golden rule. The golden rule, which is derived from the Christian teachings, is the idea that you do to other people what you want them to do to yourself. In other words, if you do good things to other people because you want people to do good things to yourself, it's very simple, right? Most religion will teach people to do good things, okay? And so the word charitable act comes from, just so that you can get a little bit of a root word, because I done some, research on these words. And the word that we use all the time when we do charity, right? Charity. The word charity, if we want to know where the root comes from. Charity comes from the Latin word, I think, caritas. Okay, which actually means care. And here, ultimately, charity is loving kindness. Okay, that's all. That's what a charity means. Okay, so when a person does, go about do charitable fundraising, they raise money to help some people. They are doing acts of loving kindness. You are caring. Okay, Ron, you go ahead and have dinner. You listen. Okay, so charity, caritas, which is a Latin word. Okay, which means care. Okay, and ultimately we all would know what care mean. That means loving kindness. So acts of charity, act of kindness, act of care. Okay, give Marian a few seconds to write that. Okay, all righty, thank you. Let's go back to the other ones. So in order to increase our affinity with other people, we need to do 7 great gifts of life, or 7 charitable acts. So let me just begin with a story. There's a old poor farmer. Okay, old poor farmers. He's been working for all his life, worked really hard, try to make his life better, try to increase his fortune, but it doesn't get better. Okay, he struggles, he suffers. And so finally one day, the old poor farmer goes to a sage. Okay, a sage, a person who is enlightened and who understands the workings of life. He asked the sage, Sage, can you point the way for me to improve my life, improve my fortune? Because I've been working all my life and things don't seem to be get better. And the sage says, simple. Besides from working hard, you need to do charity. You need to give to charity. And the old farmer said, I don't really have any money. I can barely make enough for myself. How can I give anything to charity? And the sage said, you have to give charity. You have to give charity if you want your fortune to improve. And so the farmer said, I don't have anything to give. If giving is something that is going to improve my fortune, and I don't have any fortune to give, so, so I'm stuck. I have nothing to give. And then the sage said, you actually have more than you think. In fact, you have an unmeasurable amount of wealth in your being. Okay, you have an unmeasurable amount of wealth in your being. Okay, and this is how you can give to people. And if you do these acts of giving, you will help other people go positive in their being, right? You help them happy, you help them be joyful. And then as a result of the act of charity, you will also accumulate positivity into your spiritual fortune account. Okay, think of a rock in a pond. When you throw a rock in a pond, the rock will cause a wave that ripples and it spreads out, spreads out, spreads out. It'll interact with other rocks. It may interact with the edge of the pond, and eventually the wave will bounce back and it will touch the rock again. So our behavior with other people, it's like that. Every time we behave, we do something to other people, we're throwing a rock in a pond. If we do a positive rock, it'll spread out in a positive wave, and then eventually it'll take time, it'll come back to us. We'll get more positive activity in life. That is the image that I like to use, right? We're going to get it immediately. If we have a lot of people around us and we do a lot of positivity, then that wave is going to spread out and actually bounce against other rock, and it comes back more quickly. So people are our capital and asset. If we want to improve our lives, we should surround ourselves with people. We do acts of charity for other people, and it'll quickly touch them, it'll bounce right back. If we are isolated, then we can, do something nice for some people, and it may take a longer time to come back to us. Okay, so you see the principle of causality, right? Everything that we do affects somebody else, and it will eventually come back to us in the same form. So if we experience any negative circumstances, in that moment, using this perspective, you can say, oh, okay, this is the outcome that I'm receiving as a result of my past deeds. Okay, and you don't have to blame other people. When somebody does something negative to us, we don't have to blame them. We raise ourselves to the level of wisdom, awareness level 2. The root cause of life begins with me. Oh, okay, I'm experiencing this negativity because it is that wave that has come back to me. I may not remember what I've done in the past, maybe not this lifetime, but maybe many, many lifetimes before. And the total causality, total accumulation of all my past deeds have spread out, and then now they're coming back to me. And so if I receive anything undesirable, I just know that it is my outcome that I'm receiving as a result of my past deed. And so if we want to receive positive result in life instead of negative result in life, we want to do positive things. We want to do the 7 great gifts of life, or 7 charitable acts. Okay, so in this philosophy, you can, I'm going to write down a set of words that hopefully makes it easier or more simple to remember what the 7s are. Okay, and the way it is taught is that the gift of your face. Okay, I'm just going to write it out. The gift of your eyes, the gift of your words, gift of your heart, gift of your spirit, gift of your body, and a gift of your position. Okay, affinity. By the way, there are 2 branches to affinity. The left side we're going to talk about is how we stimulate our positive affinity with other people. Okay, we do these, we deposit positive seed into our good fortune account. Next week, we'll talk about how we keep the positive affinity with other people. through the awareness and perception on character. Okay. Anyway, so this week, affinity. Okay. So face, eyes, word, spirit, body, position. And let's see if we can help us remember. You can. This is not taught in Vietnamese. The Vietnamese sharing has a mnemonic that is easily to remember, but in English it's kind of hard to remember face, eyes, word, heart, spirit, body, position. So I'm just going to make up a picture, and I hope one day somebody will draw a better picture than this one. Okay, so we're going to draw a. Let's do it this way. I'm going to draw a chair. Okay, a person sitting on the chair. Okay. Okay. Person has eyes, smile in the middle. Let's use a heart. Draw a heart in the middle here. Okay. So to remember it more simply, you just kind of remember from the top down. From the top down. Now just kind of remember your own face. Okay. Top down, there's a face. The gift of your face. Okay. Gift of the eyes. Okay, our face and then our eyes. And then the gift of our words, right? Or our speech come from the mouth. Right? Gift of our heart. Kind of go from top down, our face, our eyes, our mouth, our heart. And our spirit is just gonna the whole thing, but just gonna leave it right there. Our body. Just think of our hands and legs. And our position, I just draw it in here, which is our seat. Okay, I drew a chair, the seat. Okay, okay, okay. So those of you studying this in English and you're trying to remember the 7 gifts. So this is 7 charitable acts or 7 charitable acts. Okay. Now, when we say our face, we are talking about our appearance. We are giving somebody a gift of our appearance. Appearance. Okay. In this simplest term, a smile. Okay. Smile with your whole face. The gift of our eyes is a gift of our seeing. Okay. It is called the loving gaze. We'll explain that later. The loving gaze. Okay. The gaze is the way we look at another person. Okay. The male gaze is the way a male person look at a woman. Okay. Okay. Give of our words. Okay. So this is kind speech. Heart of gratitude. We already learned heart of gratitude, right? Spirit is a spirit of magnanimity. Okay. Magnanimity. Body is kind actions. Okay. Basically, you're helping. Helping hand is the way to remember that. Okay. Helping hands. Give of our seat or our position is our status. Okay. Status could be knowledge, title, wealth even, okay? Okay. So historically, if Marianne, if you want to get on the mic, let me ask you a question. Or if anybody is still listening, you can type it in the chat. Historically, when we think of the word charity, when we think about charity, what comes to mind?
Charity means to me like you giving out something,
Giving out something.
either money, time, kind words, kind look,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, kind act.
I
So
like that. Yeah,
actually, yeah, something that you put yourself, out for the benefit of other people. Maybe,
yeah,
yeah, something like that.
yeah. And when you
Well,
give,
yeah.
what do you give things that if you give things that you throw away, is that considered charity? If you give somebody's trash, if you give somebody your trash, do you consider that charity?
Yeah, in a way, if we're talking about like goodwills, somebody else
Okay.
trust and somebody fortune.
Yeah, one
Treasure,
man's trash,
treasure.
another person's fortune, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
for a treasure. Yeah, that's why people say, hey, go and look for treasure.
But when that person they receive it, is it their trash? No. The
No,
person who receives it, they receive it because it is something of value to them.
right.
Okay,
Even
yeah.
though it's a
So even
trash
it's
to
something that we
me,
don't need,
yeah.
okay, when they receive it, we don't want to give them something that they would consider trash. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We only give them something when they would consider, okay, giving value. Okay. So from now on, we can start thinking of charity in terms of giving value. Is it going to be something of value to another person? Okay. So the height of charitable giving is not know that you give, and the person who receive it not know that they receive. Okay. Because remember the human nature. Here's the human nature. We're going to operate on the word desire. Okay. If we give to somebody out of desire for them to benefit, then we are positive. Okay. But if we give to somebody out of desire for something in return for us, then we are negative. So kind of keep that in mind. If we give to somebody and we help their desire, right? Their desire for the human being, right? We all have desire for resources, appearance, identity, consumption, and rest. If we give something to them that satisfies their desire on a positive end for resources, appearance, identity, consumption, and rest, then we are considered positive. Right? Our giving is positive. We cause other people to go positive. And so we deposit a positive seed in our good fortune account. Okay. So value is something that we consider positive, right? We're giving values. Okay. So let's go to the first one. Okay. And remember from the story of the farmer, right? The sage tells the farmer, you actually have riches beyond measure. Okay, you have more riches than you could imagine, and it is because these things that we are giving, you can give again and again and again. Okay, again and again and again. So let's talk about the gift of the face, okay, or the gift of appearance. In simplest term, it's a smile. We don't really have to do anything. All we gotta do is give somebody our smile. What happened to us when somebody smiles at us? What do we feel when somebody smiles?
Depend. It's a man smile at me like, whoa, what's going on here?
That's a good one. Yeah. The kind
Yeah.
of smile. So the gift itself, right? The
Mm-hmm.
gift itself is more than just the action or the material value. There is an energy, there is an intention behind that. If a man or opposite sex smile with you at a smile with a certain intention, right? If he wants something for himself, then you can kind of sense that
Right, right.
energy, huh? But if a man of opposite sex smile at you in a genuine, authentic smile, he just exude happiness and joy, and you can sense that happiness and joy. Why we receive some benefit, some value out of somebody's smile.
So
Okay.
even a smile, it depends on the condition, like, if you meet a stranger and they say, hey, hi, how you doing? So, that's just a polite, being polite.
Interestingly enough, it's in some country it is rude to smile to a stranger.
Wow.
In
Which
Russia or
country is
something like that.
that?
Yeah, if you smile to a stranger, they think you have an ulterior motive. Yeah. So it's sometimes it can be culturally specific. However,
Right.
in general, right, you can afford somebody a smile, then you make them go positive. Okay. Smile like children. Okay. Little children, earlier I said the height of giving is not knowing that you give.
Mm-hmm.
Little children, little baby, for instance, they smile. They don't know that they're giving you a gift of their face. They don't know that they're giving you the gift of their appearance. Right? You look at them and they smile and you feel good. And that is why children are so fortunate. That is why people think that they are so cute, and that's why people take care of them. Because their smile is just authentic and it is joyful. And so imagine what it would be like if we are like baby, where people just wanted to take care of us. Then maybe we can practice smiling more authentically more often. Okay, it is a gift of appearance. And let me tell you a story about a woman who, in general, doesn't feel that people like her. Okay, so this lady doesn't feel that people like her. So one day, she goes to a flower festival, and she see a nice flower, and she has a thought. Maybe if I put this flower on my hair, people would like me. And so she picked a flower, she put it in her hair, and then she started walking around the festival, and then she goes home, and she noticed that every time, now that she has the flower in her hair, now that she feels herself, she feels, very happy, she starts to smile. And as she walked down the street, people would smile at her. And she goes all the way home, and people would keep on smiling at her. And so by the time she get home, she wondered, what about this flower that is causing people to smile at me? And so she goes into the bathroom, she looks at the mirror, and she wanted to check out the flower that is in her hair. But there is no flower. She looked and there is no flower. And so she wondered, oh, when did the flower drop? So she made her way all the way back, taking the same path back to the flower festival, and she discovered that the flower has already fallen several steps near the initial part where she put it on. And so the entire trip home, people were smiling at her, not because of the flower that made her pretty, but because she had given them the gift of her own smile. She was happy. She thought that she was wearing a flower, so she was happy. So she smiled, and so people smile back. Okay, and so the moral of the story is that if you genuinely feel happy, then you should smile, and you can give the other people the gift of joy. But if we're not in a habit of feeling happy, you can actually generate joy. You can actually generate a smile that is genuine. You can give another person a gift of smile, even if we have not experienced joy at first. So my own experiences like this, when I was younger, I did not smile. People would think of Frank as being too serious and, always growling, okay? The face that you see here is not the Frank, 10 years ago. So I had to practice smiling. And the way I did it was not with the physical muscle. Okay, if you smile with a physical muscle, it looks fake. Have you seen people in pictures? They take photography and they smile and it's totally fake. So what I had to do is I had to practice smiling from the inside out. I would stand, I remember when I first met my wife, we would go on a date and we would take picture. And then I wanted to look good. So every time we stand next to you and take a picture, I would think about something funny. And I would pretend I would try to laugh. I would actually laugh from the funny thought in order to generate a smile that is generally from within. Fortunately, human beings, we have the ability to generate our thought. We have the ability to generate our positive emotion so that we can actually smile from the inside out. So that is something you can practice, okay? Next time we need to practice smiling, whether at a party or simply with another person, see if you can generate an emotional smile just from deep within, okay? Yeah, so if you can smile, just looking at a person and think of that person as a newborn baby or something like that, or think of a joke that you just heard and just smile or laugh. I actually do this, just not out loud while I'm standing next to my girlfriend and I'm doing this. And after a while, that positive emotion becomes a part of my being. And then now I have more or less, master the art of genuine smile. Okay, there are classes that teach you how to, smile with some number of teeth, and forget it. I think the best smile is the one that comes from deep within. And little babies do it. The babies are great. When my son was 1 year old, you just kind of make a face or something, he would laugh, like crazy. Right? You throw a bottle with a baby and take it away, and they smile, okay? And we can practice to be like little babies and in the way that we smile. And that is the simplest gift of appearance, okay? The gift of our face, the gift of our smile. Smile from the inside, smile with the whole body, okay? So think when you smile next time, not just with your face, imagine your whole body smiling, okay? All right. Anybody have any feedback about, their own experience with smiling or anything like that?
Well,
Real.
if you're really happy from the inside, like you have an inner peace, then your face is brighter for some reason. And then
Yeah.
especially the eyes,
Oh yeah, yeah. When you smile,
Yeah.
open your eyes. Yeah, open your eyes. Okay, we talk about the
Yeah,
eyes.
you can tell some people, that you can tell that, by looking in their eyes, that they have some kind of like, worriness or whatever, but they still try to smile. You can tell, that's not generous, how you say, like yeah, like they try to, to smile at you, but from the look at their eyes, you can tell that, they not really have a happy life, something like that. Yeah.
Well, there's a correlation between smiling and joy. Okay.
Yep.
Traditionally, why do people smile?
Are they happy, joyful? Right?
Smiling because joy or happy. Okay, because joy or happy. Smiling because. Well, I invite you to smile not because you're happy, but in order to. This is, I smile usually, yeah, I smile not always because I'm happy, but I smile in order to be happy. Why? Because when you in order to smile that is authentic, you have to generate that emotion. And when your body, and when you do it enough, the external body will actually re-influence, you know, it is a circle, it's a cycle, it goes back in order to be happy. If you don't feel happy, smile. Smile from the inside out. It will cause you to eventually feel happiness. And then when you feel happiness, you will naturally smile. It is a circle. Okay, it is a circle. So whereas previously we smile because we are happy, it is now we smile in order to be happy. Okay. In order to be happy, to be joyful. That is a new awareness and perception. Okay, did anybody get that? Previously, we smile because we are happy. Now we smile in order to be happy. That's for ourselves. And if we do, you know, with other people too, we smile because a baby makes us happy. Well, now we smile in order to make a baby happy. We smile in order to make other people happy. Whereas previously we were passive, right? We were on the receiving end. We're happy, we smile because other people made us happy. But now we smile in order to make other people happy. And when we make them happy, their emotional energy goes up. We deposit a positive energy into our good fortune account, and we are going to attract more positivity. Just like the story of that lady who goes to the flower festival. She attracts positivity because she gives positivity to other people. She gives them the gift of their smile, and they give her back the gift of her smile. Okay. All right. That's smiling. I hope you get that last part. We smile in order to be happy. Okay. Next one. The gift of our eyes. Okay. The gift of our eyes. Another word is the gift of our seeing. And here in concept, we are human beings. We have the will to see. Okay, from the moment we were conceived inside our parents' womb, you know, we can see. If we have a physical eye, we can see. But actually, it's not the physical eye that see. Our master has a saying. He said that your eyes is only for decoration. Okay, consider that for a moment. Our physical eye is only there for decoration. They are not used to see. So, okay, good think about it. Let's
Your
say
eyes are
today, okay,
the, people say your eye is the window of your soul or something, something like that.
That's a different reference system. But consider the statement that our eyes is only for decoration. It is not used to see.
Mm-hmm.
In
Yep.
fact, if you think about all the people that you've seen today, how many of those people did you actually see? Did you see what clothes they wear? Did we see if they were happy or if they were sad?
Nope.
No. Our eye constantly receive the light signal from that bounces from the sun to the person to us all the time. Okay, our eye is nothing more than a sensory organ. It just receives light wave from the sun or from the room, and it transmitted into electrical signal. The electrical signal goes to a brain, and even that is just a bunch of electrical signal. Then what see? It is not our eye that they see. It is the human being. It is us, our inner being, that does the seeing. Okay, so I hope that explains some awareness and perception. Our eye does not see. It is us that does the seeing. Remember the interaction on the pen? Remember root cause formula, the root cause formula, right? What is this? And we say this is or a pen or a marker. Right? We see a pen or a marker. But if a puppy dog see the same thing, what does a puppy dog see? It might see that as a toy or a bone. It will chew on it, right? And so, whoa, so is this a pen or a bone? It is not, it is not the eyes that see, it is how we interpret something that does the seeing. Okay, so what we see comes from the inside, not from the outside. It is not this thing that causes the seeing. It is what's in here that actually causes the seeing, right? And so with that in mind, when we give another person a gift of seeing, it doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter if they're female or if they're male. It doesn't matter if they're old or young. All of that is from our inner being that determines the seeing of another person. So if all we have is wisdom, awareness level 1, which is good, bad, true, false, and we see another person as being bad, and when we see another person having fault and things like that, then it is the mental image inside us that determine what the person look like. And the fact that people come across our daily life all the time, and we don't remember what they look like, we don't know if they're happy or if they're sad, is because we're not seeing. We're not actually using our eyes in a way that is supposed to be. We're not giving them the gift of seeing, the gift of our eyes. Okay. So if we have wisdom level 1, right? Awareness is just good or bad, true or false. But if we raise that to wisdom level 1, then we can see the good in other people. A
You mean
person
wisdom
may do
level 2?
level 2 is a little bit different. Okay, so level 1 is okay. The person have 10 things. Okay, let's say a person have 10 different things, and then 9 of them is bad, but 1 of them is good. You turn a blind eye. Get it? You turn a blind eye to the 9 bad thing, and you open the eye to the good. And the more we open our eye to that which we see is good, we make a big deal out of it, then that goodness in them will over time will be magnified. Okay, the principle of light, when we bring in light, then there's no room for darkness. When we magnify the goodness in the person, then that eventually we will stop seeing any bad thing at all.
Oh, okay. That's wisdom.
That's level 1. You're just seeing what's already there.
Right.
Level 2 is a different seeing. Level 2 is
Right.
because of light begins with me, therefore I create mental images. Okay, so not only do we see the good in another person, we see the potentiality for something that is not even there yet. Our children, for example, maybe they're young, they haven't done anything much, but you can see the potentiality for them to be a talent asset. You see the potentiality for another person to be a great leader. My 8-year-old, I see the potentiality for him to become a loving husband and a father. He's only 8 years. He has, you can't use the level 1 wisdom, okay, because it's not there yet. But level 2 is you create a positive mental images about another person, because we see the potentiality for the goodness, and we see their transformation. Even though they are who they are right now, okay, maybe a person is still working on becoming somebody, and they're not that person yet, but you see their transformation. Our teacher, our sage, is the kind of person who will see our transformation before we can see ourselves. Right? That is a gift of the eye. That is a gift of seeing. Another person can see us being better than who we are. Right? There is a word called, when it comes to seeing, there's a word to contain, or to have an open embrace. Right? You contain that other person. You see the totality of their whole being. Okay. to openly embrace another person, there are three things you do. You embrace the whole person. Okay, you accept them for who they are. You focus only on the good. And number three, you see the potentiality for, and the transformation. So think about it. What would your children's life be like when they receive this gift of seeing from you? Instead of seeing our children as misbehaving, instead of seeing all the mistakes, we see the potentiality of greatness in them. Okay, it is, the successful people in the world, the famous people, are usually people who have benefit from the good fortune of having someone saw the potential in them. What would your employee and your coworker be like if we see them as a potentiality for goodness? Okay, so you can offer him or her the eyes, okay, the insight that openly embrace that person, to contain the totality of who they are, and the totality, the potentiality of who they could be. Okay, and when we see another person in this positive way, we basically maintain a positive mental image about another person, right? Even if they're not in front of us, we can see them with our mind's eye. And we see them with our mind's eye in a positive way, then we are actually raising our energy level. We are actually vibrating, resonating at the same vibrational energy frequency with that other person, so that when we do interact with them, we interact on the same level. Okay, that's the benefit of affinity. Understanding affinity, when we raise our own awareness and perception about ourselves and about another person, we allow ourselves to see them in a positive way. Then when we interact with them, it will be positive. And you can literally erase a lot of negative images about another person. I've been able to do that with a number of people that I've known, okay, colleagues and co-workers included. When I first meet a co-worker, maybe several years ago, I have certain judgment, a certain way of seeing them. I was very critical. But after practicing the art of forgetting about the darkness, don't look at the darkness, just find that one thing that is positive and good about them, and keep on thinking, focusing about the positive and good thing about them, then my energy, my affinity with that other person improve. And as a result, my work relationship improve. And then the bad things, they either go away or they're just no longer a problem. Okay, that is rising above life's problem that takes with them. Okay, basically, to give up your appearance or to give up your seeing, make other people positive as well. Okay, let's see. Next one is a gift of your word. Okay, kind words. Okay, we talk all the time. By the way, the gift of our face and our eyes, the gift of our appearance and our seeing, help other people feel good, right? Feel good, positive energy. It deposited the positive energy that we call grace or blessing. Grace or blessing accumulate, when we have a lot of grace or blessing, we accumulate good fortune, positive circumstances. When it comes to the gift of our words, not only can we accumulate grace, but we can also accumulate merit, spiritual merit, because it has to do with the ability to not only make them feel good with our words, it also, you can open another person's mind and raise their level of wisdom to level 3. When you raise other people's level of wisdom, we accumulate an energy called spiritual merit, and that will help us open our own mind so we can better understand wisdom. Okay, that's why I'm doing the sharing. I'm doing the sharing so that, I hope that by helping other people expand their awareness, I will be able to understand the material myself. Okay, it has to do with knowledge. So when it comes to kind words, We'll come to kind word, not only we make them happy, but we also open their mind. And this one, I'm gonna do it this way. Kind word. Okay. Before, when we didn't learn about wisdom, we didn't understand level 1 wisdom. We didn't understand level 2 wisdom and awareness. We say whatever we want, right? We speak our mind. Okay, you hear that phrase? I just speak my mind, right? So in the past, I just say what I feel, okay? Or I just speak my mind. And we mistakenly think that it's a sincerity or some, some inaccurate notion. But from now on, now that we have wisdom, we're not going to do that anymore. Okay, because that corresponds to no wisdom. Okay, I just say what I feel, I just speak my mind. No. Why? Because you could say things that will cause people to go negative. It is not a charitable act. It is not an act of kindness. When we say things and cause other people to go negative, right? They feel bad, they go get upset, they feel unhappy. We hurt them and we deposit a negative seed in our bad fortune account. And we're going to start accumulating negativity. We turn our positive affinity with another person to negative affinity. So we become repulsive instead of attractive with them. And so from now on, we don't get to say whatever we feel or speak our mind anymore, because our mind is not our friend. Our emotion is not our friend. They are not always positive. They fluctuate between positive and negative. Okay, we don't take ownership of it. We become slave to it. We can become slave to our own mind if we let our mind run amok. We can become slave to our emotion if we let our emotion control us. So instead, we only say words that would cause other people to experience joy, hope, trust, and raise the wisdom. Okay? Just keep it simple. Just focus on those. If you say something to bring people joy, say it. If not, then don't. If you say something that will cause them hope, if you say something that will improve their trust in you, in life, in situation, if you say something that can open people's mind and wisdom, go ahead and say it. If a person comes to us and they tell us a story about their spouse, their friend, or something, and and it's a story, a negative story, and when we hear it, we don't feel joy, and we hear it, we don't feel word and hope. We hear it, we don't feel trusting of that other person. And if we hear that story, we don't, our wisdom doesn't expand. Then you say, no, thank you. I will wait until you can, use different words. Tell me a different story. So we can protect ourselves by choosing not to input, not to admission. Right? So part of our human nature, we can choose admission here. We can choose what to hear. While people say to it, we can choose what to hear. From now on, if it doesn't give us joy, hope, trust, or wisdom, no, thank you. Refrain. We can refuse it. And vice versa. If we have a story, or that we want to share with other people, if it does not make them feel joy, hope, trust, or wisdom, then they are not story of kindness. And they are not an act of charity. It is the act of harm. Okay. And so what are some words that will bring people joy, hope, trust, and wisdom? And the following are those words. They are words of praise, okay, words of encouragement. I'm gonna call it these words of construction and words of affirmation. Okay, we'll go through each of them and see how they can cause other people joy, hope, trust, and rhythm. I think praise is simple, right? Praise is acknowledgement. We went through a whole module on acknowledgement and appreciation. Okay, acknowledgement and appreciation are words of praise. We recognize a person for the good in them, for the positive behavior, for the good thing that they have done, and we praise them for it. Okay. Okay, we praise them for the good thing that they have done. And in order for praise to be truly praised, they have to be authentic. They have to be real. Don't praise somebody that somebody doesn't exist. Okay. You don't praise somebody for something, you don't say somebody they look good when you don't truly feel that they look good. if you want to praise somebody and they don't look good, then praise them on something else. Don't lie and give them a positive word when you don't authentically feel it. Yeah,
Well,
you can
how
always
about they wear something look good to them, but not to me, but I still can, acknowledge that, hey, that dress look good on you, but it doesn't necessarily mean it look good to me, right?
Well, in next week we'll talk about the character called the character of authenticity. And you can lie your way through life, fine. You can lie your way through life and brown nose. All right, it's called brown nosing, right? You can tell your boss all the great things about them that you don't feel, right? And it does. After a while, it can take a toll on your sense of integrity. Okay, it'll take a toll on your sense of authenticity. Yeah, it'll build up some negative energy there, and they can sense it. Okay, some sensitive people can know, they know when you're just saying an offhand comment, you don't believe it. I know you don't believe it. Don't tell me I'm beautiful. Don't tell me you like this dress. I know you hate this dress. Right? Had that ever happened? They like you wear something you like, and other people praise you for it, but I know you don't like that dress. You're just saying it.
Right. I do have that feeling sometimes.
Yeah. So find something else. Okay, find something else that you can praise them for. There's a million things that you can find that have to do with wisdom level 1, where you find that one thing that is good and positive about them. Never mind the stuff that you don't like. Right? It has to be genuine and authentic. Okay.
So it's not generic and authentic, then just keep my mouth shut.
Well, if you keep your mouth shut, then you're not doing any acts of kindness.
Kindness, right?
We're not increasing our affinity with other people, and we're not improving our fortune. Right, so this module, this sharing, is about how do we proactively better our lives by improving our relationship with people through the act of giving. Right? You can choose to do nothing, and that's fine if your relationship is perfectly fine. But if we want our life to become better, then it's a good idea to improve our affinity with other people by raising their energy. Okay, and there's many good ways to do it, and you don't have to lie about it. Another thing I want to mention is a praise. It has, okay, we'll talk about the criticism later. But that's the idea about praise. Right? Be generous, be authentic. It's important because they know it. Especially you can praise them for something that they like and you agree with. Because when they like something and we agree with it, then now we are on the same level. We're now operating on the same vibrational energy frequency, and our affinity go up. Okay, but if they like something and you don't like it, and you just kind of lie about it, then we're still not at the same level. Then our working relationship may not be as positive as we would like. Okay?
So what would you do at work when people gossip about other people, and then you are in the happen to be around, that group of people. So what you gonna do? Just like, I don't want to hear this, or just, oh, bye. Or maybe, oh, I have something else to do, or something like that, or what?
Well, you have 3 levels of awareness and wisdom to work on that you can apply. First of all, initiate level 3. Just be at peace, emptiness of being. You don't have to, first of all, you don't have to absorb. If it's a negative story they're talking about, right? We don't have to absorb it. We have a choice of admission. Initiate level 3 instantly. Okay, so that you can protect yourself, remain at a high energy level. We can protect ourselves and not being dragged down to the story. And then we can drop down to, let's say, level 1. If somebody gossip about something bad about a person, we'll find the good in them and share that. Oh yeah, by the way, that person is really good at that and that. You can shift the conversation away from the negative and steer. You're now active, right? Wisdom has to do with proactive. You are now the master of your conversation. You can steer your conversation in a positive way. By the way, yeah, that person has done something really good, and I appreciate them for doing that, and I would like to see them do more of that, right? Or you can initiate level 2 with them, where you can create images. I think that person has a potential to be great. Well, you can shift the conversation if you have, the courage to do it. And if and if you have to, with level 2, you can initiate the energy of magnanimity. First of all, be magnanimous, be tolerant to yourself by being in that situation. Don't stop blaming yourself. Oh, why am I with these people or gossip? Be magnanimous to the people who are sharing those bad stories. Right? They may do something that we consider we don't agree with, but we are tolerant. We're magnanimous. We don't take that as fault. We don't need to forgive them. We just maintain balance. And then we can initiate the level 1 wisdom with appreciation. I appreciate the person in the subject of conversation for whatever good that they do. Right? We can use wisdom to shift the conversation, and that has to do with taking ownership of your relationship with people. Right? In the house of our holistic health, we take ownership of our inner being, which is our awareness and our perception. I'll raise our level of wisdom, our attitude, our character, and then we can actually begin to take ownership of our relationship with other people, right? Through wisdom and attitude. Right? Attitude is simple: serenity, magnanimity, and honor and gratitude. Pick one of them. When you first encounter something, just be at peace. Okay, give it a moment, slow down, don't jump to conclusion, don't let the emotion take in. And then after that initial moment of emptiness and inner peace, we have clarity. And from the clarity, we can pick and choose what is the right word to say next. And you can choose to say words of kindness. Right? Don't let the people with negativity drag you down. Okay. It's
Right,
good
but
that
then
you
you
have
don't
the
feel
awareness that is wrong, right? We have the awareness that gossiping is wrong, is bad, but don't let that awareness drag us down. Instead, arrive at emptiness, arrive at serenity for a moment, allow yourself to balance, get to the level of balance, then you get a clarity, then you will know the right way to behave and the right thing to say. You kind of get it how it works?
Yeah, but then you don't belong there,
Let's go
You
back
want
to
to belong, a sense of, belonging, but then you at work, they always, focus
well, you
on,
have a choice. Okay, you have a choice.
yeah.
There are 2 ways to belong.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, be dragged down into the gutter and belong in the gutter. Or
Mm-hmm.
you can raise them up to the level of serenity and magnanimity and honor and gratitude and have them belong in that level. You have a choice. Go down or raise them up. You see?
Well, it's hard though. It's not easy, but
Okay.
I need to like listen more and more and more. Yeah,
I think you get it. Okay. You're just not
I
giving
get
yourself
it, but
enough credit.
it's just not
You're not
easy
giving
to.
yourself enough credit, and it's okay. It's
Mhm.
okay. Just be tolerant, be magnanimous about yourself. Okay. Yeah. Don't say it's hard or anything like that. Okay. So praise.
All
Okay.
right, I
That's the
will
praising.
try.
Okay. Authentically, be accurate, be real. Okay. Next one. Encouragement. Okay. Encouragement is a little push when you recognize that the person has the potential to be better. Right? If let's say our children comes home and with a report card, and instead of getting all A's, that they get a bunch of A's and maybe a few B's and a few C's. And it depends on our own desire and imagination for them.
Mhm.
We can accept it, praise them, and then encourage them to do a little bit better. Okay. It's important that when you encourage, you also praise. You always begin with praise. Oh, you are so good at getting 6 out of 7 A's. I think you have the intelligence and the hardworking to be able to get all A's. Okay. Encourage helps better when you begin with a praise. Okay. Many talent as asset. Okay. People who contribute to society mature and grow due to some encouragement from other people. And the only way to encourage people is to see their potential. That is level 2, wisdom.
Mhm.
It is different than expectation. Right? A child comes home with a report card, they get 8 A's and only 2 B's. And if we impose our expectation, which is our desire and imagination, if we impose our expectation and say, you need to get all A's, that is trying to satisfy our desire. Right? That is trying to satisfy our desire. We have some expectation, and we're pushing the other person to achieve so that we can satisfy our desire. That is selfishness. But if we can see the potentiality of another person, then we are altruistic, we are positive. Then we say, I think you have more to give. I think you have more effort to commit. I think you can do a little bit better. Okay, I think it's a good idea. It's great that you have 8 A's. I think it'll be great. I think you will be a greater person if you get all A's, all 10 A's. Okay, it requires energy of wisdom, and it carries a positive energy when you tell them, when you use words of encouragement, the person feels good. They feel hopeful, right?
Mhm.
They feel hopeful. They feel, oh yeah, they can do it too. They can improve too. They trust you because you have just give them hope, right? So, and they feel good that you acknowledge them. Okay, so encouragement is seeing the potential and not imposing our expectation. Okay, encourage is motivating other people, enabling them, and empowering them. To encourage is to motivate, to empower, and to enable. Okay, does anybody here remember enabling and empowering? Which of the 9 types of people this fall into? What kind of people, what kind of person out of the 9 type of person that we learned 2 weeks ago, what kind of person will enable and empower us? Marianne, did you listen to the recording?
No.
Okay. It is the people that we
Maybe
call
cao nhân. I don't remember. Cao nhân.
the Vietnamese word is thần tài. Okay, it is the
Oh, I
people.
see. Thần tài.
In English, we made up a new word called the prosper, or the spirit of fortune. A spirit of fortune is somebody who bring fortune to you. Okay, they help you prosper, enrich in your fortune, Hello, Miss Gemma. Thank you for joining our Zoom today. Happy to see you, Master. Okay. So the words of encouragement, if you speak words of encouragement, you enable and you empower other people, and that essentially make you a spirit of fortune. You cause good fortune to come to another person. Okay. A spirit of fortune or the prosper may not always know that they're doing the act of enabling and empowering. Right? In the case of, let's say, a baby, my son, for example, when he's born, I consider him a spirit of fortune because he brings fortune to me. I have a house, I have a job, but we are adults, and so we can choose to become any of those 9 types of people, including we can be a spirit of fortune ourselves. We can be the prosper who will enrich other people, who will bring fortune to other people, and who will encourage and enable and empower them. Okay, and that is the gift of kind words of encouragement. Okay. Yeah. Okay, next one. Let's go to the next charitable act. So we went from our face to focus on our eyes, to focus on our word, right? Our mouth, the word. So now we're going a little lower in the body. Oh, no, not yet, not yet. No, hang on. Some
We
more.
still have, yeah,
Kind word, construction.
and yeah,
Construction. Okay.
and
Construction.
affirmation.
Okay, words of construction. Let's do this one. Okay, words of construction. That's important. Okay, so let's begin with let's do this. Okay, I got it. Have you ever heard of the concept of constructive criticism? Ever heard of constructive criticism?
Oh yeah, at work.
Give me an example of constructive criticism.
Yeah, I said, oh, Marian, you could have done this. You could have, improve on this area. So they point out the weakness, but then in the way they encourage you to do better.
Okay.
Like they not really put you down or penalize you, but they bring it up enough for you to be aware, and then they give you the way to correct it and improve.
Sure,
They
sure.
call that
Okay.
constructive criticism.
The constructive part is a part that makes you improve.
Right.
The criticism part is a part that let you down. Yeah. When people criticize you, it's negative.
Right, exactly.
You feel pretty bad. And they try to cover it up with nice words. Right? So in this perspective, constructive criticism is not constructive. There is nothing constructive about constructive criticism because the criticism initially caused them to feel bad. Not only that, it is to satisfy our own expectation. Right? Your boss calls you in and do a constructive criticism. It's because your boss already has an expectation of what you should do. He or she is only interested in you satisfying the boss's expectation.
Right.
So when we criticize anybody, whether they constructive or destructive, obviously you don't want to be destructive, criticism that just destroy the person. That's just all negative.
Right.
But even constructive criticism, okay, essentially we are desiring for ourselves. We're trying to change another person, and we said that we're trying to change another person is the beginning of suffering. We're not interested in the other person's growth and maturity. We're interested in the quota or whatever that we expect. And so we go through the process of constructive criticism. So basically it is also negative.
Mhm.
Okay. And it comes with this. There's this word.
Of
But
course.
Marianne, you did great and this and this and this and that. But
However, yeah.
so that whole part before the but, the sentence, the whole part about the but
Mhm.
could be great. It could be the best thing that they say, but the
Mhm.
moment somebody used the word but, they have essentially negate everything before that. It has
Right.
absolutely no value anymore.
Mhm.
They can say a million positive things about you, but when they put the word but,
Hurt.
you basically
Yeah.
cross out everything that's positive about you. So
Right.
nothing has nothing in before the word but has any value or meaning. It is only what after the but that they're interested in.
Mhm.
You see that one? So it's very negative. Okay, constructive criticism. It is satisfying one's own expectation and the use of the word but. So instead of constructive criticism, I invite us when we do what do we do? What word? Construct.
Construction.
Instead of criticism, instead of using the word criticism, we use the word constructive feedback. Okay, it's just feedback.
So construction, in other words,
Constructive
is
feedback. Okay, constructive feedback. Instead of constructive criticism, we do constructive feedback. Okay, and this is how we do constructive feedback. Okay, it is positive, and it is acknowledge the other person's accomplishment. Acknowledge a accomplishment. Okay, acknowledge accomplishment. Marianne, you did this good, you did that good, you did that good. Okay, you acknowledge accomplishment, right? When you acknowledge a person's accomplishment, what do they feel?
Feel
Joy.
good.
Yeah, joy. Yeah, they feel very good.
Mhm.
Okay, whereas if you, as soon as you do criticism, they go, they go negative. So acknowledge the accomplishment. And then you use the word and. And what you do is you add on or you increase or you expand the other person. So Marianne, you did this good, you did that great, you did this correctly. And if you do this other one, you're gonna be awesome. You like that?
Oh, yes.
Totally different than but. You did this good, you did that great, you did that correctly. And if you do this other one, you're gonna be totally awesome. So it is the and, which will add on to the person's. Why, this is how you help a person grow and mature. The other one, you're just satisfying our own expectation. So constructive feedback instead of criticism, okay? Constructive feedback. And we use the word and. It is a recognition of the other person's accomplishment, and we add on to that, make them grow bigger. So in constructive feedback, it includes encouragement, it includes praise. So we can kind of see a progression, right? It includes praises, it includes encouragement, and you just add on, make that person expand. There's no negativity in that. The person walk out of that meeting, oh, they're gonna feel up in the air. They're gonna conquer, they feel like they'll do anything. Okay, that is constructive feedback. Okay.
Affirmation.
Next one is affirmation. Okay.
Yeah, affirmation.
Affirmation. Affirmation is simple. I don't need to write it down. It is a declaration. It is a declaration that another person is going to be something greater than even themselves. All right. A child may not even know that he or she is going to be whatever, but you can declare, I think you are going to be a successful person when you grow up. My son doesn't know anything about, romantic relationship or raising a family, but say, Minduk, you are going to be a great husband and a wonderful father. Marianne, if you pursue the mental wit 7, you're going to be an awesome mother and a great leader in your workforce.
Well, talking about that, I need your help.
Did you sign up? Huh? You did not pass?
I got 18 correct.
Oh, you keep on working. Okay, that's fine. Then there's okay.
That 20 question and
First of all, 18
I
is
passed
great.
18.
18
It
is
has to
great.
be perfectly 20 though.
That's fine. So what you want to do is you just kind of, do you know which question you got wrong?
I know, what is it, 2080 or 40, 2020? Like 20 something and 40 something and 40 something.
I'll give you, yeah,
I remember something, is it 40, 40, 20 or something like that? Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you a tip, okay?
Yeah, I guess that well, after this,
Okay.
you have a minute?
I can help you with that. Okay.
Yeah,
But
after this.
that's just simple stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
You can even Google the question and the answer all over the place. I think when I did it, I had to Google the question. I did not study to the degree where I could remember it in my head. But I can help you with that, no problem. Okay.
Yeah. Just
But if
2
you are
questions.
if you're willing to pursue it and to study it and to get it right and to keep on trying, then that's already a mark of a talent asset. Okay. Not every talented person is a person of value. They can have talent, but they're only interested in themselves. Here, we define a talent asset is someone who brings value to you. An asset is something that grows over time that you invest in. And so you're going to be a talent asset to your family, to your coworkers, when you can master the knowledge of the philosophy of education, okay, fundamentals of being human and be successful and be happy and healthy. Yeah, so we work on that. Yeah, that's basically an affirmation, okay, a declaration on the potentiality of another person, whether that person has achieved it or not. There's nothing to encourage because they haven't gotten anywhere near that. Nothing to provide constructive feedback on, nothing to praise, but you simply declare that that person is going to be, somebody great.
Right, yeah.
And those are gifts of kind words. Okay, that one gives that will give you hope, right? Give joy, hope. Okay, joy, hope, and they will trust you. Okay, especially if they one day achieve that reality, and then they're gonna go back. Oh wow, this my mother or my coworker is the one who declared it. They affirmed it for me. They made it real for me. And then to open a person's wisdom, if the kind word opens their wisdom, then you need to go back and study the module on the 3 levels of wisdom on the human construct, level 3. Okay, if you can share with them this philosophy, this methodology, and help the person arrive at a space of emptiness when they encounter problem, help them rise above life's problem. Instead of trying to fix life's problem, just raise their awareness and perspective so that the problem is no longer a problem. That is words of kindness that can help people expand their wisdom, raise the level of awareness. And if we can accomplish that, then we accumulate some positive seed in our spiritual merit account, intellectual merit account. and then we will understand the material better. We will be more readily and simply experience level 3, wisdom ourselves, which is serenity and inner peace. And we can take ownership of our life more simply by helping others. And you can, do that by becoming a mentor. Okay, with mentor with mentor. Okay.
Whoa,
Right.
I really want to.
Huh?
I said, I really want to.
There you go. There you go. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Next one. What giveaway? Nhan nhản ngôn tâm. Okay. Next one. Gift of our heart. Okay. So with that picture.
We go for like how many hours? 2 hours? Right?
Yeah. Well, we were late.
7
So
and 8.
I just go as long as
People can
anybody's
listen.
still in the Zoom. So some people come in late. Some people
And
leave
people
early.
can listen.
I just as long as there are people listening, I just go. You can always go back to the recording. If you need to leave, you need to leave. Okay. Gift of our heart. Okay, we already talked about the heart of gratitude. Whereas in the discussion on the attitude of gratitude, it is a state of being. If we can maintain a state of being grateful, of honoring gratitude, then we raise our own energy level. We encounter more positive circumstances when we raise our energy level. Okay, but when it comes to giving the gift of gratitude, it is a proactive act. Okay, it's a proactive things to do. So when we encounter other people, that is why we study the 9 types of people. That is a way that we can proactively choose to thank you, Ms. Gemma, for the picture. I'm using the picture. Okay, in the Vietnamese sharing, there's the mnemonic that you can remember more easily, right? Nhan nhản ngôn tâm phòng thân tọa. But in English, it's kind of hard to remember, face, eyes, word, heart, spirit, and body and position. So within English sharing, what I'm inviting people is to remember it from the top down, from the top, which is, from the top of our body down to the bottom. The top meaning our face, our eyes, our word, which is the mouth, that we go down lower to our heart, our spirit, our body, which is arms and leg, and then our position, which is our seat. So this is, hopefully, this will help the English speaker who don't know, who have not studied the Vietnamese version, to kind of remember it. Help me to remember it too, because to say it in English, there's no rhyme, there's no. I try to use AI to come up with a mnemonic for FEWHSBP. If anybody can come up with a mnemonic that's easy to remember, you can feel free to share it. But anyway, heart of gratitude, we already learned that. We learned about 9 types of people. We learned to look at people not only as people, but people are our assets and capitals. People are our bridges and our the road, the path toward life's fulfillment. Okay. We learn to look at food when we eat and be grateful for not only the food, but for the people who created the food, and for the people who created those, help those people. Okay. It is with the lesson on being, with the gift of gratitude, we want to be mindful, not to be grateful for the undesirable circumstances in life, and not to be grateful for undesirable or offensive acts that other people do. Because gratitude carries an energy that attracts more of what we want. Okay, so if we want the good things, then they're grateful for it, then we'll get more. But if we are grateful for the undesirable things, then we're going to get more undesirable things too. Some people have an attachment to suffering. Some people derive the sense of identity from the ability to overcome challenges. So they are always looking for challenges. They are always looking for undesired circumstances. So their lives are full of pain and suffering, and they are proud of that. You can do that if you want, but not me. And I invite you to see if you can, reach, achieve a life of health and happiness without excessive pain and suffering. Okay, so don't be grateful for things that are undesirable. You will get more of it. Okay, duh, 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 duh. Okay, so here's an important heart of gratitude. So here's an important thing about being grateful. Okay, previously, let me ask you that. This is an interaction. So previously, what are we usually grateful for? What do we honor? What do we feel thankful for? What do we give thanks for? Does anybody want to share? Normally, when we say, we're grateful, what are we usually grateful for? In what circumstances do we give thanks?
We're grateful for everything.
Can you be a little bit more specific? In what situation do we give thanks? When do we give thanks?
When people do me favor, when people give me money.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love
When
it when people
cook
give me
meal
money.
for me, yes.
There you go. I love it when people do me a favor. Okay, when people give us, first of all, if we don't give a thank, we're not grateful, then we easily fall into taking for granted. And if we take for granted, then we easily fall into resentment and blame. Remember that lesson on gratitude, right? So to protect ourselves from resentment and blame, which is a negative energy, which attract negativity into our lives, we want to maintain the spirit. Want to maintain the heart of gratitude. To have positive affinity with other people, we want to give them the gift of our gratitude. But traditionally, we usually thank people for giving things to us. We thank people for doing favor to us. And while that is good to maintain positivity, there is another level of awareness and perception when it comes to the from gratitude.
I'm grateful for the people I have in my life.
That is good. Okay.
I'm grateful for taking this wit and the knowledge that you're giving me.
Okay. You're very welcome. Okay. Now, pay attention to this. I'm grateful for you for receiving this knowledge. I'm grateful to you for receiving this gift. Because the first level of gratitude is simply being grateful for the stuff that we receive. That's great. But the higher level of gratitude is being grateful for the chance to give. Because when we give to other people, when we do other people a favor, when we open other people's mind, their energy goes up. And when their energy goes up, we deposit a positive energy in our good fortune account. And thereby we are going to receive more positivity, greater fortune in life. That is a higher level of gratitude. Not only are we grateful for things that we receive, but we are now grateful to the people who receive what we give them. Did you guys get that? We are grateful for giving. Okay. Imagine, if you're a parent, if you're cooking a meal and you give your children the meal and the food, and the children eat it and they're grateful for it, we should be grateful that they are grateful for it. Because when they are grateful for it, their energy goes up, we receive some blessing and grace. So we benefit from their gratitude. Therefore, the art of giving is to be grateful for the chance to give. Whereas previously, when we think of charity, oftentimes we think about giving something that we own. It is sometimes people even think about when we're giving our time or our effort, we're helping other people. When we are helping other people, we are taking our time, our effort, and our resources. Some people consider that a loss. And they expect other people to be grateful. Right? We expect other people to be grateful when we help them. But here, I invite you to be grateful for the chance to help other people. Because by helping other people, we're actually helping ourselves. Right? That is the operation of this engine of grace and merit that we talked about in the previous episode. By helping other people, we deposit positivity in our spiritual account, and we will ultimately receive more positivity ourselves. Take wisdom to understand that. Okay, so the main point that I want to say about the gift of gratitude is to be grateful for the opportunity to help other people, not only to simply be grateful for other people's help to us. Okay, let's see. Okay, gift. Next one is a gift of our spirit. Okay, spirit of magnanimity. The word magna comes from the Latin base, which means great. Animus or anonymity means spirit. Okay, the gift of our great spirit, which means the gift of our tolerance, the gift of our mercy and forgiveness. Magnanimity is a level beyond tolerance, mercy, and forgiveness. Be openly magnanimous to other people. Okay, so whereas in the sharing on the magnanimity, it has to do with our awareness, our attitude about life in general. Okay, here it is a proactive and conscious gift that you give to somebody. When you give to somebody your spirit of magnanimity, when they commit a fault, for instance, okay, they may feel bad about it. Somebody may commit an offense against you, and they may feel bad about it, and they know it. And we are magnanimous about it. We offer them the gift of magnanimity. We basically say, no problem. You don't have to feel bad about what you've done. Mistake is just something that happened in the past. We can use the teaching. We help them recognize that the root cause of life begins with them, but they don't have to blame themselves. Because at the moment of them choosing or performing whatever act, whether it's good or bad later, that was the best choice that they could have made. So we can give another person the gift of magnanimity by showing them that the choice that they've made at the moment of making those choices, the best that they could have made, given what they knew at that time and understand at that time. And therefore, there's no need to blame themselves. So you can expand their awareness and help them, save them from the negativity of having committed bad deeds. Okay. Okay, that's magnanimity. Next one is the gift of our body. The gift of body is, I pointed to helping hands. Okay, this is physical act of helping other people. Physical act of helping other people. With the gift of body, helping hand. Okay, this is literally helping other people. Okay, or kind action. Okay, kind action. Same thing. Okay, give a body, helping hand, kind action. Picture is right here. Okay, the helping hand, gift of the body. Let me ask you this: has anybody ever tried to help somebody and the other person didn't want it, or they get upset because we try to help them? Anybody have any experience like that? Anybody here ever try to help? Yes, Gilma, thank you. You said so. You helped somebody and they didn't want it. They didn't want the help. They may even feel offended that we try to help. Right? That is because we lack the following awareness and perception. Yeah, you try to help your mother-in-law and she doesn't want it, right? Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Gemma. Okay, that is because we lack the following awareness and perception. Okay, if we help somebody and they don't want it, or somebody they feel offended, so when helping other people, they're supposed to go positive, right? We're supposed to help them experience joy. Okay, but instead of experience joy, they get upset. So that is because we forget that not everybody want or need. And so here, when it comes to helping other people physically, we only help those who need us. Okay, we only help those who need us. Why? Because human beings, now I know because I didn't connect well with her. Now it's better. There you go. Okay, so it looks like Gemma has been able to raise her positive affinity with her mother-in-law, and therefore now it is simpler to help your mother-in-law because your affinity is better. You're on the same vibrational energy frequency. Okay, they're on the same level. The reason why people sometimes refuse our help or they get offended when we help is because of their sense of identity, their sense of pride. Okay, they may have a certain desire. Maybe they desire to do that on their own. My son, for example, my little son, 8 years old. Okay, he's at an age where he wants to do everything on his own. And sometimes when we try to help him, something say, no, they do it. Little kid, when they get to a certain age, their sense of identity, their sense of pride, the desire and an imagination about certain tasks, meaning that they want to do it on their own and they refuse our help. And therefore, when we want to help other people, we need to recognize that those who need us, it's only the time that we want to help.
But,
We have to use.
don't you have to ask them if they need help?
Yeah, you can.
Right here in
in
America.
general, okay. Yeah, in general,
right. Mostly in
general, you should
America,
ask.
even the parent, they see their child fail. They said, well, are you okay? You need help. Yeah, they even ask their child if they need help, but not in Vietnam.
Yeah.
We just jump in and help.
So those are the gray areas, and we need awareness and wisdom. Okay, we need level 1. Okay, we need to know what's right and wrong, what to do and what not to do. Okay, we need level 3 wisdom, where we can experience emptiness and serenity, and that'll give us clarity so that we can know when to help. Okay, so I'm just going to list out the circumstances that when you want to help, and when you can identify which of these circumstances, it'll make it more clear, more simple to make the right choice. Okay, those are the people who want, who we help are the people who need us. Okay, that's simple. The people who we want to help is those close to us. Okay, why is it? Because it's within reach. Okay, they're close to us. Could be family member, could be co-worker, and obviously you want to make sure that they are ready to receive it or not. Those who are close to us. Okay, these are the opportunity to be to do the acts of giving. The people we want to help are the people who are grateful. Okay, grateful people. Okay, so here we use the word honoring gratitude. Some people translate trân trọng biết ơn as appreciation and gratitude, but appreciation is very similar to gratitude, whereas trân trọng is to honor, right? To honor another person, honor a thing, and to gratitude, honoring gratitude. Let's do that again. Trân trọng biết ơn in my translation is honoring gratitude. Okay, it is a 2-word conjunction. Why do we want to help people who are grateful to us, or who there are some people who carry with them a high level of the energy of gratitude everywhere they go. They're always grateful for everything, and we want to take those opportunities to help those people, because it's simple. When we help them, they go positive, and we deposit a positive energy into our own account. Thereby we will attract more positivity to in our lives. So that's a simple one. I just, help the people who are grateful. Okay. You want to help those whom we owe a debt of gratitude. Okay, debt of gratitude. Basically, if somebody had helped us in the past, we are obliged to help them. Okay. Recall the sharing last week on the 9 type of person. Those whom we owe a debt of gratitude are our benefactor. Right? We have the great benefactors who help us in a large part of our lives. There's the sort of the medium or intermediary, and then there's small benefactor. There are many people who benefit us. And so to whom we owe a debt of gratitude, we need to be ready to help them. And oftentimes when it comes to benefactors, it is often the case that we are not able to help them in the same aspect that they help us. For example, if somebody help us by giving us money, that means they're already rich, they're financially free and abundant. It is difficult for us to try to help a rich person in their finance. But a human being have many areas of needs. We can help them achieve serenity, inner peace. We can help them enrich their relationship. We can help them achieve wisdom, attitude, all the intangible stuff, right? So those whom we owe a debt of gratitude are the people we should focus on helping. Okay, so these are the 4 people that we can, focus on helping when it comes to doing actual actions. Okay, with those close to us, families and friends, sometimes they don't ask. Okay, sometimes they don't ask, or sometimes they might find it offensive at first, like in the case of Miss Gimmer, like mother-in-law, they might find it offensive, unhappy at first, but because they are close to us, they have a relationship with us, an affinity with us. We should find ways to improve that affinity, that relationship, find ways to help them, even if they don't ask for it. For example, if they don't ask to study this philosophy, right? Just offer it. If they're in a home, just turn on the volume and have them listen. These are the ways you can help the other people who are close to us, even though they may not say that they need us. Okay, those who need us, especially strangers, you want to be careful. Those who are close to us, you can kind of push a little bit, but use your wisdom. Okay, don't want to cause too much negativity, and then that cause your affinity to go down. Help people who are grateful, because it's simple to do that. Accumulate positive energy for them, for yourself, and those who we owe a debt of gratitude. This is a teaching on the benefactor, okay, the people who help us. With the helping hand, the physical action, we need to keep in mind the 4 survival motivation. We should help ourselves. Keep in mind that it can affect our family. If we help ourselves and it hurts our family, oops, that's too short. Let's make it another. Let's use a different paper. This part is actually important when it comes to physical act of helping. For survival motivation, or you can call it 4-fold gratitude. Okay, it is yourself that we can help. But if all we do is help ourselves, we become very selfish, and it may conflict with our family. So if we're going to help ourselves, we need to make sure that it also helps our family. If all we do is help ourselves at the expense of if all we do is to help our family at the expense of ourselves, then that doesn't work either. That breaks. If we help our family, but it doesn't help our organization, you can call organization as your workplace, your church, your community. That doesn't work either. You find conflict. If you prioritize your family and your organization gets hurt, or vice versa. Or we go to work, which help our organization, but we don't go home and spend time with our family, then we're hurting our family. That doesn't work either. And if we are helping our organization and we don't pay attention to the greater society, if our action, society, then that will also break. It will cause negativity. In the Christian language, it accumulates sins. So when we help people, we have to pay attention to the society, to organization, to family, and to the self. Take, for example, a charitable mission to, let's say, a developing country. You see a town, the town is poor, the town is struggling, and we want to help the town, right? Help the people, maybe with food, with water. But if we're not careful, we directly help the town and the people, and as a result, the people may start to blame the government or their own country. Then we have created blessing in one hand, but we also created negativity on another hand. We help a small group of in society, but we're hurting, the institution that is in power. Okay, so be real smart when it comes to helping people. Okay, the gift of our hand, gift of our body, our helping hand. We have to keep in mind the 4 survival motivation or the 4-fold gratitude. Okay, our self, our family, organization, and our society. Okay. Okay, let's squeeze in the last one real quick before we can say we say good night today. Last one is a gift of our position. Okay, in the Vietnamese, sharing, it is a gift of our seat. Okay, the place where we sit. In a literal, in a literal sense, we can help another. We can literally give up a seat. Okay. We're on a bus and we're sitting on a bus and we see an elderly person standing. It's okay to give them our seat. But in a more, intangible way, has to do with our status, our title. Okay. If we are a person of knowledge and wisdom, we can give other people our position of knowledge and wisdom. Right? For example, I have been fortunate to come across this teaching, this philosophy of life, the philosophy of health and happiness. And I am taking it upon myself to give other people my position of knowledge by sharing it back. And those of you who are in the mentor program, you are undergoing a process by which you are going to be able to share with other people your gift of your seat, your position of knowledge and wisdom when you master the mentor program. Okay, thank you, Ms. Lum, for joining our Zoom. I hope you got some value out of that. Okay, hope to see you again next week. If you want to do anything big, it's impossible to do it by yourself. If we're in an organization, if we're in a company, and we want to do something big, it is impossible to do it all on our own. The only way to do it big is to offer your seat to other people. If we have a job, a certain title, and if we are able to help other people get our job and our title, then that opens up the possibility for our own advancement to get a promotion. If we are a supervisor and we train other people to have the same capability as a supervisor, then our boss will see that we have this ability to train people, and thereby they can promote us to manager and director. If we're a director, don't hold on to our directorship position. If we train other people, share our knowledge so that other people can be director, then eventually we can become CEOs or bigger. Right? Because when we give the gift of our position, give away our seat, we're going to usually get a better seat. Okay, so from this point onward, I advise you to erase the idea of job security. Job security is job advancement, not just sit in your own position and prevent other people from learning what you already know. Okay, trade secret. Okay, if we share our trade secret, then many people would know, but that will also cause us to accumulate good fortune, and we are going to be advanced. We're going to be able to advance ourselves in other ways in terms of economic. Okay, so to sum it all, back to the same thing, back to this top one in the human nature. We all have desires. We want things. If all we want is things for ourselves, we're going to go negative. The more we work on ourselves, the more we focus on ourselves, the more we're going to go negative. The more unfavorable circumstances, the more negative circumstances is going to come into our life. But if we go positive, we allow other people to receive value, we give value, we become altruistic about other people. Altruism, the word true is a Latin word for other. Alt is other, true is self, other self. Then we go positive. We accumulate positivity into our life. And even though we're talking about benefiting ourselves by helping other people, the epitome, the height of charitable giving is to not know that you're giving, not think about receiving anything in return. Because even if you're helping other people and you kind of have this back of the mind knowledge that I'm doing this because I'm going to get benefit from it, then that itself is a little bit negative. So you're actually canceling out some of the positive energy that you're giving out. So the height of charitable giving is to not think about receiving anything in return. Okay, and do it in such a way that other people not even notice that they've received it. Because if they know that they receive it, they'll give you some, they'll give you the gratitude. They'll want to pay you back, and if you receive that payment back, then you're already satisfying the selfish need, and thereby limiting your own positivity. Okay, so the ultimate epitome of charitable giving is to give and not know that you give, and then give and not let the person who received know that they have just received it. You're just operating that cycle, the engine of grace and merit. Okay, I am very grateful for you, those of you who have joined our Zoom and staying to this time. Okay, honored by your presence. Lovely to see Miss Gemma. How old is your baby?
Thanks, Mr. Frank. Hello, everyone. My baby is 2 months old.
Wow, congratulations. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, congratulations. Wow,
So
very
luckily,
exciting
she
time.
could learn with me.
Yeah.
Listen to Uncle Frank.
Well, thank you for your gift of praise and encouragement. Okay. Yeah, words of affirmation, we already see, I'm sure you already see the potentiality of your baby. Okay, he or she's gonna become a great person one day. Okay, a healthy and happy person, a value contributor, a talent asset, a sage, enlightened master, okay, a mentor to other people.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, yeah.
Chứa đựng là gì thầy Frank?
The word children here, I'm still trying to find a good word. I'm using open, embrace, or contain. Yeah, to an open embrace. open embrace. Embrace,
Yeah,
but open.
yeah.
Or open containment. Yeah, I'm still playing with that word, still experimenting. Okay, I use dictionary, I use different sources, and beautiful concept to tutoring somebody. But in the West, the idea of, in the West, we live by individualism, and so we sometimes the certain open concept about being embracing of other people. The ideas of being magnanimous is very foreign to individualistic society, because individualistic society is all about individual ourselves. So it's an interesting challenge to find a word that can translate. You can use openly embrace, open embrace. Okay, the idea of embrace is to that, but is an open embrace. Or you can
Actually,
use
I think this word also has the meaning that see the transformation of others and believe in them.
Right.
Have a great transformation in the future.
Right. The gift of seeing, the gift of your eye is to see the potentiality, the totality, and the transformation of another person. Right. They may not be there yet, but we see them being there already.
Yeah.
Right. And you can declare it with your gift of your speech. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Thanks for sharing.
Okay. I appreciate it. Anybody else have anything to say before we say bye-bye? Okay. That's the case. Good night. And we'll see you next week. Okay. Hopefully, we'll do it again. Next week we'll jump into character. I think we have enough information and material to start talking about character. Okay. Character is what other people see. It is our physical manifestation of wisdom. Okay. Hello, Jenny. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, Frank.
Take care.
Yeah,
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Frank,
Hmm?
can I call you so you can help me
Yeah, you can call me. Yeah. Okay, you can do it now.
right after this?
Yeah, right after. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank
Goodbye,
you.
everyone. Thanks,
Okay.
Mr. Frank.
Bye. Take
Bye.
care.
Everybody.